Get my coffee and get myself situated over here. We're ready for you. So, can Tesla give us your introductions, and we'll let you take it away. I love it. Equipment day.
I'm Kendra.
I'm Cameron Wright.
I'm Derek Mullen.
Saadia.
And I'm Jack.
So we're going to begin this by talking about our agenda. We're going to discuss what Elon Musk is about, the scandals he went through, the timeline of the scandals, the 5 scandals, the groups involved with the scandals, the penalty, Tesla's third quarter, media coverage, opinion, and then we're going to have questions and answers for everybody. Thank you.
So to learn about Tesla, we first need to talk about Elon Musk. He's an entrepreneur and a businessman. He's the CEO of Tesla Motors, SpaceX, and Neuralink. He's also the co-founder of PayPal, and his net worth is about $22.1 billion.
So we went over 5 different scandals, and they have all been pretty close to each other. The first one is the Wall Street analyst. This was in May. This is all from 2018. The journalist review scandal, the cave diver scandal, taking Tesla private scandal, and then the smoking pot scandal.
So the Wall Street analyst scandal. So the Wall Street analyst called Elon Musk and with a company earnings call in May. They requested information about finances amounting to losses, and Elon responded with saying that the questions were boring, bonehead questions, and they're not cool. Eventually, he was dismissed altogether.
Second scandal is the journalist review, and so Elon Musk has been feeling like angry with the media and how it's reviewing him. So he made like a tweet about that, how he like disagrees with the media all the time. So then he proposed making this website, which would be called Pravda, which means truth in Russia. And so he made this tweet saying, going to create a site where the public can rate the core truth of any article and track the credibility score over time of each journal's editor and publication. Thinking of calling it Pravda. So this was just kind of unreasonable for him to do, and people didn't really like that he had that idea.
Here's the cave diver scandal. I think this is probably one of the most popular scandals. Right here, Elon Musk suggested that he would build a submarine to help a soccer team that was stuck in Thailand caves. But he ended up not really working, and the coach of the soccer team, or the guy who actually saved them, Vern Unsworth, he kind of like mocked Elon and was like he knew like the submarine wasn't going to work, and he kind of like made fun of him. So Elon went to Twitter and basically called him like a pedophile. In short, you see the tweet over there that he made. So right after he made it, I think Tesla shares dropped by like 11%. So the company made him apologize, but on other slides we see he kept like egging on. And right here is the timeline. So it started in July, and you see July 7th, he talked about tweeting and building like a submarine to help the kids. But he never really did it. Like they ended up saving the kids by themselves. And after the coach made fun of Elon, Elon went on Twitter and called him a pedophile. He apologized, and he it's an email he sent to BuzzFeed, and he accused him of being a rapist, and he kind of like mocked the coach, saying he hopes there's a lawsuit. He was like on Twitter, he said, "Don't you find it kind of interesting that he hasn't sued me yet?" He's offered like free legal services. So the coach actually sued Elon over defamation over the tweets. And here's just all the tweets that was related to the scandal. Right here is the email, and here is the tweet he was talking about when he kind of made fun that the coach hasn't sued him yet.
Alright, so the next scandal we have here is the going private scandal, which was pretty recent in August. And this is the tweet. I'm considering taking Tesla private at 420 per share and funding secured. So this is a big deal, especially because Tesla notified the market that they should keep an eye on Musk's Twitter because it will have viable information on Tesla company information. So this kind of sent everybody into a frenzy in the stock market. And for wanting to go private, he actually sent out an email to all of his employees, and all the employees are stockholders as well in the company. So he thought if they were public, it created a lot of distraction from the workplace for all the employees, focusing on not focusing on the long-term execution of what they want to do as a company, but more on whether or not their stock's doing well that day. It also, at this time of him tweeting this, they were the most shorted stock, but now they've been surpassed by Apple and Amazon, I believe. But at the time, so because he kind of has that ego issue where he felt like people were out to get him, so he kind of wanted to go against the people that were shorting him, and by doing this, they would lose a lot of money. The investors, if they didn't want to go private, they could be bought out at 420 per share, which at the time was a 20% premium. But he wanted a lot of people to stay on, just like SpaceX, which is another one of his companies, and he wanted the format to be quite similar to that. So they could just buy or sell around every 6 months if they wanted to. And of course, the proposal would have needed to go through all the shareholders first. And on this image over here, this is just a snapshot of that day of when Musk tweeted that they were going private. And then you can see where there was a trading halt, because then the SEC got involved and they were concerned that there was something illegal that Musk was trying to do. So this is what was wrong with what they said. It was uncertain if it was actually going to go through. There's a lot of contingencies on the plan. The funding ended up not being secured, which caused him to take on a lot of penalties. And he also never discussed the specific terms with the pricing. And the pricing was wrong. It was actually 419 with and some change. It wasn't 420. He rounded up because he thought it would be funny because it has a connotation with it. And yeah, this ended up really disrupting the stock market that day. And like I said, those who shorted the stock were going to lose a lot of money because they were trying to pull out. And then here's the overall timeline starting back in August. You can see when he tweeted that they were going private with the funding secured, when the SEC probe started, and then this is, I don't know if any of you guys saw his interview where he was kind of just talking about his company and how stressful he was and all the stuff he's been doing. And then this is where he ended up just coming out publicly saying, we're not going to be going private, this isn't going well, we're not getting good feedback about it. And all the way down to September then, they lost another 2 important people in the company. One, the chief accounting officer, because he didn't like the publicity that the company was getting at the time. And then the HR manager, the head of HR, resigned as well after an extended absence of leave, which another person at the company did earlier that year.
So the last most recent scandal is the smoking pot or cannabis scandal. So as you can see on the Joe Rogan Experience, he was hosted on there, and he was offered a hit of cannabis mixed with tobacco, and they asked him, if this would affect anyone in the company, and he pretty much didn't answer the question. He just took a hit of it, without thinking about his actions. And shareholders were concerned about this because as the CEO of a very important private company, or a very important company, they were worried that, maybe they might lose money from this, from his abuse, not really abuse, but his use of drugs. And as you can see here, this is a quote that we found. He said, "I choose no sleep or Ambien." So he takes Ambien for sleep medication, and we believe that this could cause these misleading tweets that he's been going out and tweeting about. As you can see here, Elon Musk is to blame for the dip in the stock market. As you can see, it came from a peak of $380 to right around $266 now. That's a big dip in the stock market, affecting the whole entire company. Shares of Tesla has dropped 30% in the last month. With this last recent scandal, it's really taken a big effect and a big impact on Tesla and Elon Musk overall with this publicity as well.
The only authorities that were involved were the SEC and the Department of Justice. And the Department of Justice launched their investigation on top of the SEC over his misleading tweets. So Yeah, the SEC ended up charging him with, securities fraud and overbusiness conspiracies. And you'll see like the penalties.
Yeah, so with all these scandals comes penalties, obviously. Elon Musk and Tesla were fined 20 million each, so total of 40 million for both of them. And he was forced to step down as the chairman of Tesla and ineligible for 3 years. He was also sued by the cave diver, Vern Unsworth. And then Robin Denholm was appointed as the new chairman of Tesla, but Musk does remain as the CEO. And then this is just more tweets. This is the cave diver tweet, and obviously you've seen this before already.
Yeah, so even with all of these scandals that have been going on, Tesla's third quarter still turned out really well, and I'm just going to explain why that is. So they were still able to flourish because of they improved their production, so they were able to make cars faster, as well as cutting down costs by $10,000 because they were using different materials. So also the Model 3 has become very popular in America, so more people have been buying it, and because of Musk not being the CEO or stepping down, that also helps their people buying the Teslas more. And then to go over media coverage, there were a large range of sources of pretty much all the scandals, like very large media coverage from, I listed a ton of them, the Washington Post, New York Times, all the big companies. So basically, it didn't have a large impact on Tesla considering the third quarter.
So our team's opinion on all these scandals, what Musk is going through, we think somehow he needs to kind of reel back in his tweeting, because there's a whole study done on his Twitter account in 2018, and he tweets at all hours of the day, every single day, and it's not acceptable if this is a viable way for him to convey business information to his stockholders, especially if he's not taking it seriously, such as the going private scandal, giving them wrong information, incorrect numbers on earnings, on the stock price. And so we think somebody else should probably be in charge, or at least hold him accountable for what he's tweeting during that time. Questions?
I did not hear this. I'm so sorry.
Do you think Tesla's stock price will continue to rise or fall?
So currently, today, I think it's all the way back up at 350, because it did dip all the way down on that one chart where it was all the way down around 260, I believe, when the HR manager left and the chief accounting. So it is already climbing back up, and it's almost at the same point it was when they first announced it private. So it should continue to keep going up, especially with the great year quarter that they had.
Do you think the penalties that Elon Musk received are fair?
So for the SEC probe, I think he could get off pretty easy. Especially with the U.S. Justice Department not coming in yet with their findings, because he could be charged criminally if they do come back with something, which would not go well for him. But I do think he was in the wrong for doing what he did, and I think him having to pay $20 million as well as his company paying $20 million, he got off kind of easy. But we'll see when the Justice Department comes in with their allegations.
Just to add to that, like 20 million would be a lot for most people, but with Elon's wealth, it's kind of unfortunate with the price that he got. What do you have to add?
Which scandal do you think had the largest impact on Elon Musk?
I believe it was the going private scandal, which is why he was fined all this money and had to bring in the SEC. So, and that one definitely had a lot of media coverage. So that one pretty much had a large effect. And that's also why he ended up stepping down as chairman.
Do you think it was a good idea for Elon Musk to step down as CEO of Tesla? Do you think it was a good idea for Elon Musk to step down from CEO of Tesla?
So he hasn't stepped down as CEO yet, but I don't think he should step down as CEO, which I guess I'm supposed to say. I don't think he should step down as CEO because he does it was his startup, and he does have a very fine vision, I guess, like a very narrow vision of what he wants done, and I don't think anybody else can produce what he wants to do in the future, because he's very focused on being green no matter what the costs are, and I think if somebody else was the CEO at that time, they won't take that as the first thing, they'll probably take prices and all that, so I think he should stay as CEO.
Yeah, adding to that, yeah, I believe that him staying CEO, like we talked about, like the regulations with his Twitter account and like his, public image too, should be kind of like watched over because, like he said, he's full of ideas, he's very innovative, and there's not really many people like him. We just believe that he just needs to be watched over, like in the public said.
Great, those are the 4 questions that we had. Thank you so much.
We can get like those sheets with your sheets.
They didn't get passed around.
Probably isn't stuff, right?
All right.
Do we have to fill out team one?
Yeah, so, the team who's just presented, sit up here, fill out one sheet, right? Don't fill out each individually, so that means you're gonna have to have a conversation, how do you think you did? Focus on strengths and weaknesses for that. So, is everybody back, Kelly, you have 2? Anybody else not have a feedback sheet? All right. I'm gonna give you about 3 or 4 minutes to finish those if you are finished. Please write your team who presented, because I have more than one technical. The folks who just presented, so write Derek, Cameron, so I don't mix it up with other feedback sheets. It was Kendra, Jack, Cameron, Derek, and Saadia. You guys done with your feedback sheets? Jalen, how's your arm?
It's alright, it's getting better. I started out yesterday.
Can you take any, do you take Tylenol or anything for pain?
Yeah, they have, but I'm not a big person on medicine.
Yeah,
So.
it's better not to. Better off. Okay, so this is Friday. And the more feedback you give, the better. It's really helpful. So, I'm not speaking to you guys. It's really, I want to know what you think about your own presentation, but for others who are still finishing, it's really important to be as substantive as possible.
Yeah, we had
We'll sit right in front of you. Pick 2, that way I'll mix it up with another team.